Hi everyone, Scrappy Kathy here with a quick layout share. It's been a while, and instead of using a specific day of the week to target doing these shares, I kind of go by the size of the stack and when I need to start putting them in albums, because I'm going to try to do better at that, like as of now. So this one was one that was, it was done for Challenge Accepted and May I Scrap Lift You. And the original was this really cute one by Lillian Scrappy. I am sure I pronounced that incorrectly. But I pulled out all my different drinking straws and added a fussy cut floral cluster from I guess that's from Splendid by Paige Evans, and did some packaging technique mixed media on the back, used some Bramble Fox perspectives and some Dottie About Flair, and showcased the prom photo from Barrett's junior prom. So I'm going to put that one aside. There is a video on that one. This one is one that does not have a video. It was done for day 11 of load, and I have not done load every day this month, and I feel really bad about that. I have access to the prompts. Anyone who signs up for load has access to the prompts, and I can go back and use those and do the month, and I intend to do that. But right now, things are a little bit crazy, so that's not happening. This is using my Mind the Scrap, I guess it's April kit, and I've been calling it the May kit, but for me, the kits have a little bit different identities because it takes so long for them to get to me in the US. But I absolutely love the frames, and I like this kind of story of Ava's progression. This was the day she was diagnosed, or not diagnosed, but the day she was leaving the hospital after her first 2 days of chemo, which it was like 2 days before that she had been diagnosed with leukemia. And then that was in March. This was in the middle of summer when she was so frail and thin, but a really happy girl. And she kind of went through a period where she was trying to adjust. When she got out, finished chemo, there was COVID, and so there was a lot of socialization. She went back to school this year and has a really cute, adorable boyfriend named Jonathan. And this is a photo of them sitting across from us at a restaurant where he was whispering something in her ear, and she was obviously delighted. So she's coming back, guys. So I'm excited about that. And the journaling here says, one day you will tell your story of how you have overcome what you are going through now, and that will become part of someone else's survival guide. And this is a sticker from a Art by Marlene sticker book that came in the Mind the Scrap kit. And this was an old flare that I had that just the color matched so well. I have no idea where it came from. But I got it free with something else, so I put it on there. And the other flares are Dottie. This is another prom picture, and it was done for Mixed Media Frenzy, where we were lifting the Fab MK gun. And I did something that I used something that I had prepared for Calvin ball layout in March and didn't use. And I can see that I have some exposed glue right there, but I think by now it's a little bit unsticky, so it's just the sheen that shows. So more pictures from prom, and I'm going to have a special section in my 2022 album for events like that. This was another one. This was done as a load featured design layout, and it used my Scrap Backwards kit and some Spiegelmom scrap sequins and an XL flare from Dottie, and then a regular size flare here and here. It was supposed to be about something that we're really good at, like better than other people at. And for me, I'm the best at taking bad selfies. So that was that layout. This is probably my favorite layout in this whole stack. It was a, what was this one? This one was Scrap Squad Sunday. It was a Scrap Squad lift, and this was the original. It was done by Anita Bounds, whose work is always amazing. She takes the same supplies that I have in my stash and just does things with them that I would have never thought to do. So I used a lot of CVS, Cocoa Vanilla products. She's on the design team for Cocoa Vanilla. And I used Bramble Fox. What are these called? They are, they're paper snips. I was going to call them paper cuts, and I knew that wasn't right. They're paper snips, and the paper snips that came with the Sea Life collection had these words and icons that you can cut out. So I used icons and cutouts, and I circle cut some things from I think this is from the No Limits collection. And then I did a lot of stamping in the exact same color that's around there so that I could get the little waves and starfish and sea urchins in there. And I love the little urchin title. It's just adorable. Here's another one with Ava. This was it was Scrap Backwards, and I used a Scrap-A-Sketch sketch, and I did a challenge from Scrappy Adam for the first birthday celebration of Under the Influence of Scrappy Adam, UTOSA, if you will. And I love how this turned out. I wasn't quite sure I could get all of those challenges in, but I did, and there is a video on that. This one, there's also a video, and it was a flimsy piece of paper. It was Stash Dive Tuesday, and I used I loosely lifted Sally Ann Floyd from the Dottie About Flair design team from the first year, and she had lifted something done by Rebecca Moore, and I loved both of them. It involved a lot of mixed media and the large cluster here, small cluster here. I just used scraps and things from my Scrap Backwards kit, as well as a bunch of other stuff from my stash. And I copied the square there. I used some Cocoa Vanilla stickers to mimic mixed media, and then I used a bunch of sequins and a bunch of flare and some acrylics. This is a Bramble Fox frame, and I backed it with some cocoa vanilla paper. Okay, this is a lift of Charmin Peterson for this week's Challenge Accepted and May I Scrap Lift You. And I kind of worked off the colors that were in the photograph of James and Ava and me at an Offspring concert. I guess it was last weekend, Mother's Day. And I let those colors decide my choice of sequins, and this little squirrel and this little heart, and the camera and the heart are both from Bramble Fox. The flare are from a set called Abstract in Dottie About Flare, and that's about the third set that I've finished. I think those were my last three. I may have one left. And the frame and all of the ephemera were in the Mind the Scrap, April kit. And this is one that was published today. I did it 3 days ago, I think. And it took 2 full days, maybe longer than that, to upload. And it, usually when that happens, it's corrupted, but I went back and I was able to go through it, and it wasn't corrupted. So I think you can still watch all 30 minutes of it. But this was my favorite mixed media discovery in a while. I used 3 different sheens, 3 totally different types of spray inks. I used a neon ink from Hero Arts that's at least 10 years old. And then I used some relatively new Dina Wakley Media gloss spray. And then I used some Distress Oxide spray. And the Distress Oxide I used last so that it would react with the wet spray that was underneath. So in the areas where the spray underneath was wet, it did all of this moving around and created that magic. So I'm extremely happy with this, and I'm going to do that again, I think maybe even this week. I have there's a Mixed Media Mayhem hop that's coming up on Friday, and the original gave me the idea to use a mix of blues, but doing this layout gave me the idea to use a mix of different blues, different textures of ink. I don't know if you can call it textures, but certainly different sheens. The glossy media has that shine to it, almost like an acrylic paint, and the neons kind of soak into the paper and are very, as you would guess, very bright, whereas the gloss sprays are very shiny. And then the Distress Oxide sprays are matte and almost a soft, they kind of look like a velvety finish, but they have that water reactivity. So you'll get some of the velvety finish and some of this kind of moving around and opening up, blooming, I guess you would call it. And then I went back over when it was all dry after the layout was done and added some white splatters just to have a little bit of texture. They lifted up and kind of stayed up on top of the paper, whereas everything else underneath blended. So that's it for this week's share. And I thank you for watching. And I think you've probably noticed and will continue to notice that my pace has slowed somewhat. And I will continue to combine, even if things are not due on the same day. I may combine them and put them out on one or the other day that they're due, just because I'm really racing to get work ahead to have all of my posts ready for the time that I'm going to be gone next month. So thank you for watching, and I'll see ya. And I, even when I'm gone, I expect to still be making videos. They may be very different videos. I'll be staying with Scrappy Adam before we go on the Vicki Boutin cruise, and he and I have plans to do some lives together, and some those will go on YouTube, and we may do them live on YouTube. So stay tuned, and I'll keep you posted. Bye.